This is the most overpowered build right now in Destiny 2, and we're going to give you a comprehensive guide on how to use it. Not just what to equip, but how to troubleshoot when things go wrong. Because what I've noticed in my build experience is that you can equip all the right things, but if you don't know how to use it or troubleshoot, then when shit goes south, you start dying a lot, and then you blame the build. So in this situation, we're going to go over that. So first thing, let's show you the gameplay loop of what we're looking for. If you haven't already watched the world's first raid race and watched me clear this encounter, we can demonstrate it in the boss really well. This is probably one of the most shining examples of how to use this, so we'll just simply start the boss fight. What happens if you stand here, actually? Do I die? Shoot him! In the crit! In the crit! Whoa, hey. An ancient Vex fart on you to start off. Alright, so here's how the gameplay loop works, okay? You're looking for the low health targets, like the red bar targets, to one-hit melee. That's great. Now, once you have knockout procced, you can see on the bottom left, now you can go after the big targets, start destroying them. You'll keep constantly re-proccing knockout. In the normal difficulty, it's a lot more powerful, but this was strong enough that you could actually pull it off in contests. Now, what do you do when you've whiffed your melee? Alright, I've used up all my melee energy. Now, I need to take my uncharged melee and start punching things. Sometimes if they have a decent amount of health, I'll shoot them a little bit beforehand, but eventually I'll punch them. This is going to reproc health regeneration, and you can see my melee charges back up really fast because of this. So this is the strat. Get your melee back. See how fast? Now I have it back already. Only had to kill a few ads. Now I can get back in the action. Boom. Lighten everything up. We can add a 1-2 punch shotgun to this, make it even more powerful. Not always necessary, but it definitely makes things really powerful. If you hit a target and don't one-hit kill them, this is what will happen. You just get half your energy back, and when that happens, you just start punching things with the uncharged melee. Okay, so now you understand the gist of how the gameplay works. Let me give you a breakdown of the actual build. Murder me. That's what the gameplay is going to look like. You can add a 1-2 punch shotgun. There's a lot of them. This isn't even like the best one by any means. I just threw this on because this is the best energy one I had on. Perfect Paradox tends to be the best option for this. Some other people use like the Icarus shotgun. It doesn't really matter which one you use that much. It's just nice when you don't have to reload it. That's why people like Perfect Paradox so much. The build is this, and this is important to get right. Obviously, you want Missile. Missile is ridiculously powerful. Even if you don't do a loadout swap and put on Falling Star, it's still just really good damage. You want the half wall because it has the most utility. Sometimes you'll put on the tall wall just because you can block damage from incoming stuff, but the half wall in general is pretty nice to use, especially when you're damaging the boss, and it allows you to reload weapons a little bit faster, and it offers you a little bit of cover, so generally speaking we use half wall. Jump doesn't matter too much. Thunderclap is definitely the play here. While it does technically work with any of your melees, you can do like infinite ballistic slams and seismic strikes, which is really fun with the helmet. Thunderclap is just the strongest one for sure. Pulse grenade, essential for this. We'll go over that in a minute. We got Storm's Keep On, okay, which is the one where we're getting our bolt charge. So you just have to put your wall down and it's going to start giving you stacks of bolt charge. We got Knockout on. So this is what's making your melee super powerful. All you have to do is run around and punch a bunch of stuff. The gameplay loop is pretty simplistic and pretty easy for this. There's a few little pitfalls that people land into, but we'll cover that. For the fragments, we got Spark of Resistance on. This is essential in any challenging activity, even outside. I always just rock this just because why would you not want to survive more? And you're always going to be surrounded by combatants when you're trying to punch stuff, because that's the range in which you're surrounded, right? Within like 10 meters of an enemy. This one is absolutely essential as well, and it's not because of the first part. The first part, melee hits increase your weapon reload and stability. That's not too bad, especially for shooting the multi-mock, but it's the second one where you get increased stacks of bullet charge. This is what makes that bullet charge build really strong and really helps with overall damage output, and can help with ad clear too if you want. Then we got Spark of Shock. This is what's making your grenades significantly more powerful, and then Spark of Magnitude, again, making the grenades even more powerful. So that way you can loop those around. You can actually create a much stronger loop if you want to invest more into your grenades. We have Skull Fort on, right? Skull Fort is incredible. All you have to do is make sure you get a kill with an arc melee, and you get health regeneration, and it fully recharges the melee. And if you get hits, melee hits grant arc melee energy, which is what we talked about. So it's the physical melee hit when you don't have your melee. That's what's going to recover when you mess up and whiff your melee, or if you don't one-hit kill something, right? You're going to one-hit kill most things if you charge it up fully, but standing there and fully charging up Thunderclaps is kind of slow. Like, you don't want to just stand there just sitting there charging. You kind of want to just click the melee button and run. So this is definitely the play. Everyone was using this. This was the build in contest, Desert Perpetual. Then on the gauntlets, this is where things get interesting. The reason why I use heavy-handed is because you're getting so many melee kills. So the mods on the helmet, I put heavy ammo finder on both of them just so I could have as much heavy as possible. but there's actually a lot of really fun stuff you can do here. Hands-on is incredible if you need to get your supers back fast. These are the mods that you need to equip for this if you want to do contests. Now, if you want to just have fun, we'll also break that down. I don't know why the mod icons are in 10p resolution though. Bungie, what are we doing here? So for contest raid, we had double heavy ammo finder because we needed to get that Thunderlord ammo back. However, if you really want to have some fun with this, and if you're doing like a normal mode raid and you want to be missling stuff, hands on, let's go. Gain bonus super energy on melee kills. That's nice. That's really nice. That's what I'm going to use in most activities, and most of the time I use this build. But in contests, I needed to use heavy ammo finder so that way I can get that Thunderlord ammo. On the gauntlets now, we got heavy-handed once, twice, thrice. And the reason why is because the more you put this on, the bigger the orbs are for everyone. The thought process was we just want to make massive orbs. This is gonna constantly give everyone more super energy, heal everyone up. I'm literally just running around hitting like a million thunderclaps, so you might as well just spec into that as much as possible. Like, you don't actually have to shoot your gun very much. So since you're meleeing stuff, 99% of the time I'm gonna have melee damage resistance on, so that way if something punches me back, I don't get absolutely destroyed by it. Boots doesn't really matter for this one too much. You could always try to invest more into like strength. The reason why you want as much strength as possible now is because it actually enhances the damage done by your melee. So the higher the damage you can get, the better. You could always invest more into melee. You want your thunderclap to be just powerful enough that it's one hit killing the majors. The red bars, of course, it's always going to one-hit kill the red bars. But you want it to one-hit kill the majors. Honestly, if you got it powerful enough, you could probably one-hit kill champions with this thing. So strong. And then lastly, on the class item for this one, we were rocking double time dilation and a special finisher, which is why you saw me doing 10,000 finishers. This is mostly just for contest type stuff. This is not necessary for this like build or the gameplay loop. Obviously, you could invest into more melee-oriented stuff if you really wanted to. And then all of my stats are on melee, and the secondary stat is on weapons. And then obviously we're doing loadout swapping, which, you know, some people are a fan of, some people aren't. But that's why if I loadout swap, I end up with this. We got 150 intellect with falling stars, so we can do big missile damage. We got the triple super font on the helmet, so we're going up to 200 intellect with that, right? Doing the huge missile damage. 5k damage in contest roughly with our weapons. Of course, it would always be better to get higher weapons, but that's as high as I could get with that particular loadout. So yeah, this is the build. Multi-mock was just there just to create a bunch of orbs. This isn't part of the build, but this is just what we were using in contest. Lotus Eater was just there because it gives me instant breaks on the Minotaur's overshields and also gives me an overshield of my own with this really cool combo that I'm a big fan of this combo. I don't know if anyone else uses repulsor brace destabilizing rounds. On any void weapon, this is the combo I want. This combo is OP. And then Thunderlord just for general damage. So yeah, while amplified, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. That's nice for the grenades, and you can get those back faster. And there's some ways you could probably loop in getting your grenade back faster too. Impact induction, right? Causing damage with powered melee reduces your grenade cooldown. You could probably put one of these on and start spamming more nades and stuff. In low-end content, that's probably what I would do more. For contest, that's what we stuck with. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, Shield Crush is absolutely essential for this. Defeating targets has a chance to make an elemental pickup. This did create a ton of those Onyx Races. Ordinarily, you wouldn't get too many of those with that, but that was nice. The sidearm is really good. Rapid non-sidearm final blows grant sidearms a period of increased damage. This would have procced from the melee kills, I believe. This one was actually big. Granting allies an elemental buff gives class ability energy. That was nice. Those are the essential artifact mods that made this really strong. This build is absolutely insane. Feel free to customize some stuff for yourself if you want to spec it out differently, but really, this thing is nuts. And there will be an epic raid coming out in 3 months. So if you're trying to get prepared, get your builds ready. This is one of the builds to have set up. And in the meantime, you could obviously farm up some tier 3 or higher armor. That would be my recommendation, with high stats in melee, high stats in intellect, and high stats in weapons. If you really like this build a lot, that's the play. So like I said, I had this. We swapped to this build for the double traces. People, just as a side question, if people were wondering too, we had double traces because it gives you the best special when you swap over to this loadout. It gives you the most amount of energy or ammo, so that's why we had that intentionally. And then the last loadout had Lord of Wolves, and then back to the multi-mocks. Finishers restore melee abilities. This is nice. If all you have to do is have stacks of armor charge, which you're gonna have like infinite stacks of armor charge because you have heavy-handed on and you're punching stuff. You kill a bunch of things, and once in a while you whiff your melee. Well, then you just hit a finisher on the next thing, and bada bing, bada boom, your melee's back. You're back to thunder clapping them cheeks. And it just looks badass, right?
Hey, 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 I gotta cut to the chase. give me some space.